Do we have any action items to review?
All right, here we are. Today's Cinco de Mayo, May 5th, 2021. This is the Kubernetes production readiness sub-project meeting. Thank you all for joining us. Let's get started. Alana, do we have any action items to review? I did.
I think it was just yours, and I think it's done.
It was just, I did mine. And we did start getting, I have it here. We started getting responses. We only have 26 responses, which is not very many. We had like 75 or something last year when we did it. So this is probably reflects me not going out and posting stuff on Slack. And really last time I was a little more aggressive with it. We did get Bob talk to the CNCF, Bob Killen talked to the CNCF and had them put it out to the end user community, which is really good. So we maybe have, some good results in here, but I don't want to close it yet. And probably after KubeCon, so next week, maybe take some time and try and drum up some more responses and see how that goes. So that would be, I guess, the only action item is to check on the status of that, and that's where we are right now.
Yeah, I think it's good to punt that to next week when not everybody's heads down at KubeCon. Yeah.
And then looks like the rest of the agenda items, the next two are yours, Alana. So
I'll take it away then. So this has been approved already, but I wanted to just raise this as a topic so we had it on the record. My question was, is PRR applicable when there are no in-tree changes? So if there was a KEP from SIG cluster lifecycle, and they wanted to make some changes to kubeadm, and they said, oh, we've got this feature flag, and I said, on these various control plane components. I'm like, okay, what changes are you making to those control plane components? Like that's, potentially a lot of SIGs are gonna have to talk to. They're like, no, we're not actually making any changes in tree, it's just in kubeadm. And the author didn't really understand the question, I guess. So once I confirmed that, it was kind of like, well, it's just in kubeadm, so there's not really anything to coordinate. So I'm not sure PRR is applicable. So I approved it, and I guess in the future it's like, do we want to mark these out of tree things and just say PRR is NA?
So I think that PRR is optional maybe for out of tree things. Like we people do use Kube, and it's a little bit tricky.
I mean, I did review everything for them. It's just like in going through the review, we discovered, well, they're not actually like changing any feature flags or anything like that. So
in the enhancements call, what we talked about was basically things that are release affecting, which to me means touches the binaries that we deliver as a Kubernetes release. And then for SIG projects, they kind of do their own thing. So that's been kind of the understanding so far, is that the whole release tracking process. So it comes down to the KEP process is actually only necessary for things that are in tree, and it's optional for things that are out of tree. But I would think if you choose to do the KEP process, then you may want to have production readiness review, but that as far as
a lot of our questions just don't apply, right? Like there's not going to be any metrics or anything like that. So
and then you just say NA for anything that doesn't apply. You just say NA, and maybe we need to put a little note in the template. Anything that does not apply, you can put NA. But we're still going to look at those and say, no, that actually applies, because that happens. People put in NA.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah.
It applies.
Yes. Doesn't apply.
Yeah, from this category of like kubeadm, I remember also one KEP from SIG testing, which like none of the questions actually applied, and yeah, so it's, I think I like John's suggestion that we should be, maybe even for the whole sections in some cases you can just write non-applicable and
right.
Yeah, we should still be reviewing those, but yes, I think it's such cases will be happening, yes.
Yeah, and the enhancements team was working on sort of a flow chart to help people and like a way to sort of like potentially bypass, like to people, again, to answer the question, do I need a cap? And then, whether there's further refinement beyond that of when I need a cap, do I need this section and that section is a different question. But even to just answer the question, do I need a cap, is not always clear to people. And so the enhancements sub team is working on that, but I haven't attended. I don't think I attended last time, so I'm not even sure what the current status is on that.
I'm planning on attending next week, and I'm not sure either. I think that we're seeing a lot of this where people, they want a design doc and they want review from their SIG chairs and they want to follow the standard review cycle. And the only way that we have to do that right now is a cap. So,
Right.
and folks get very concerned. They're like, well, I need PRR review. I can't work on this until I get this PRR approved. It's like, well,
that's yeah, it shouldn't block them starting work.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah.
So,
it's like, unless your concept is totally insane, it shouldn't stop you doing work.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, cool. So I think that's a good concrete answer for people. And then also from a prioritization perspective, because out of tree stuff is optional, I will prioritize working on in-tree stuff before the optional stuff if I have like 15 caps I need to review.
Right. Okay. Next item.
So I was just, we might want to come back to this one, or I don't know what order we want to do this in, but mostly I was concerned. I looked at the release spreadsheet for 122 and there's like 60 items and I have been assigned, I think like 3 PRRs. So that's not very equitably split. And I wanted to make sure that the workload was even and that, everybody's going to have a chance to finish stuff before the deadline, because there's a lot of stuff all kind of coming in last minute.
And it was the case like last time also. Like I did 4 so far, and I have 2 more that are like under review. I mean, I added first round of comments and hopefully the last one. But yeah, it's still 6 out of 64 that we have now. But like the interesting point is that when I was looking into this spreadsheet today morning my time, there were like 46 or 44 or something. So like 20 of them were added like today.
Wow.
So I expect another like 30 or something will be added. Like I think we may reach 100. Out of this 100, probably like half of them won't make the release anyway. Not for reasons not related to PRR, but yeah.
Well, so I will say at least, so I was one of the people who was adding a bunch of caps to the spreadsheet. I added, I think, like 17 yesterday for Node. A bunch of them were, now granted, like not all of them are necessarily in shape to make it for this release. A bunch of them were just like, oh, this slipped from last release. We already did PRR. We don't have to do it again.
Right.
So there are at least a decent chunk of them in that camp. Like another example would be API server tracing. That one has been PRR'd to death. Like it just keeps slipping. So some of them there's no PRR. I don't know that the release team has gone through and like actually labeled which things already had PRR done versus what needs it for this release and so on. Maybe we can ask them to do that, and that way we can see who's assigned and then split them if they're not equitable.
Yeah, I think that would be super helpful. Yeah, I agree.
Okay, I mean, for me, I like I said, I've been a little bit heads down on other things, but tomorrow I've got pretty much dedicated to getting through and figuring out all my reviews I'm sort of behind on, including checking into this. Didn't they change the process? Don't you have to put some files somewhere, or did they not implement that yet? I guess they didn't implement that yet, the receipts process thing.
If I understand correctly,
they're not doing it. That's what I heard. Because like if they're doing it, it's way too late to implement it. There's a
it's way too late for 122 if they haven't already decided to do it in 122, and I don't think that's kept merged.
Yeah, so my understanding is that they they want to do that, but not this cycle because like
Okay.
they didn't manage to do that on time. But yeah, maybe I'm out of date with.
Okay, no,
stuff.
it's just add to the, it's manually add, it's SIGs have to add to the spreadsheet now, but it's not anything else. Okay, no, that's cool.
So it's basically exactly the same thing that last cycle. Last cycle
Yeah.
we were also adding to the spreadsheet.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, so I think definitely we need to keep our eye on this, and tomorrow I will go through mine and see how many I have assigned, and we'll try and I guess this is the last bullet point. I will try and identify any that haven't been flagged, that are in the spreadsheet but are missing from any kind of PRR review or assigned, and probably go through and assign them.
I think. Oh, okay. There's next point about it. Yes, I think John, if you could take a look into Elana's PR that is linked below, because
that's a good
that
segue.
will force us. I wanted to do that for quite some time also, and so thanks for doing that.
Yeah, I just started getting really mad. I was like, I am furious that I have to every single, like, I think I've reviewed 5 KEPs thus far, and every single one I've had to comment this on there because it wasn't pulling in the PRR review because they didn't update the metadata. So I made it required. So I went through about like 20 of these, and I actually like checked the issue and figured out the stage and the last milestone. And then some of them I gave up and set it to 0, 0, and alpha because there are 90 of them that don't have it set.
Old ones, it's not as, yeah,
and some of them are like, they're basically withdrawn, or they're like, so it doesn't really matter as much. So
they all pass now. I mean, so
yeah,
this
this passes CI.
But does that mean that there's a bunch of KEPs out there that need PRR that have been?
Well, so none of them have been, like, these are all basically previous cycles, and so then as soon as they try to like get something in for this release, they have to update the latest milestone in the stage, and then that'll trigger the PRR.
Okay.
So I also responded to the email thread from release team where they were describing what is required to have a KEP target, a feature. And I think we need to actually start checking if there is like an appropriate latest milestone in the KEP YAM. Because that will, for example, automatically will let us know if we have a PRR or not. I mean, if there will be a milestone, you need PRR approval, so it will be there.
Yeah, I think one of the things I'm struggling with right now in reviewing these things is there's a ton of metadata in the kep.yaml file. And frankly, like, I only really care about maybe 3 or 4 things. Like, I care about the title, the number, the current stage, the latest milestone, and like maybe the reviewers and the approvers. I don't care about anything else. And like, there's a bunch of data in there. And I think the problem is people see that and they're like, oh, there's too much to fill in here, and they just ignore it.
The status we need to, but a bunch of the other stuff.
Oh yeah, and the status.
Yeah, that all came out of the original KEP template, like had all that stuff in it. Nobody uses any of those. The C also, the replaces, the superseded by.
Yeah.
Nobody's
and even
used any
the
of
like
those.
dates, right? The dates are in source control.
Dates.
So
right, like, yeah, I don't know why we need to keep the dates in there.
But this one, I really want these to be required. So because it is causing me misery. So I think at least having the like 0, 0 indicates that it's wrong and somebody needs to go and update it. There was a question about whether or not we should have like an unknown stage instead of setting them all back to alpha for the ones that we don't know. But I think it might be just
we don't know because nobody ever implemented them, or
no, we don't know because like nobody ever filled in the metadata, and I was fine to do spelunking on about 20 of these, but at that point I got bored.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping to so for my mentoring cohort right now, I'm hoping to try to get through, at least for like the people in my group, to get them to review all of their SIGs KEPs and update this metadata for us as part of some of the enhancement stuff that we're working on. So then maybe I have like a group of people who's willing to do this, but that won't cover every SIG. So. And some of
I
them are
mean,
just much
definitely,
bigger
if
than
we do
others.
that, at least we can run something that says, hey, the latest milestone is 0, 0. You know, somebody needs to fix this.
Yeah.
But
So the actual like code changes are literally 3 lines at the very bottom. And so I'm basically, my worry right now is if this doesn't merge soon, then I'm gonna have to keep
Right.
rebooting it because of people making
Yeah.
changes. So I explained like line by line every change that I made here, which was adding the file name to the data structure, fixing this error because this map never gets initialized, and actually making the things required.
okay.
And I needed
Yeah.
the file name to be printed out on the same line as the warning in order for automation to add the fields, because otherwise it was like trying to do inference across 2 lines and it was a pain in the butt.
So we had a warning before, huh? And
It's
now
still
we
a
have,
warning, but now it fails because it's required.
right. But I mean, yeah, before it didn't.
So there's
Okay.
still a warning.
Okay. All right. Well, let's do it. The worst thing that can happen is people get pissed off and we have to revert it.
Ship it.
Ship it. Code's fine. I mean, it's not
It's
exactly
like 3 lines. I would hope that the
Exactly.
code is fine. But yeah, I spent like 2 hours on this last night, so I hope it was appreciated. I hope it'll save us pain, because I've already spent like so much back and forth telling people they need to set this and them not setting it. Oh yeah, somebody else submitted the same initialization. There's now 3 people who've submitted this, and I closed some duplicates. This is just the same code change.
Oh, okay. So apparently I have a pending review request on that. See, I haven't gotten to mine. I said tomorrow I'd get to them, but apparently I'm getting to this one now. All right.
Yeah, it's almost the same, slightly different. Oh, and you don't need to worry about me squashing the commits because I put a squash merge method on it.
That's cool. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, I learned about that one recently.
Yeah, so I was wondering whether we shouldn't have like a special marker for that, but on the other hand, like I see much value of like committing it now and
yeah,
potentially
it also
fixing
kind
it.
of tells people, oh, mine's not alpha, mine's done. I'm gonna go fix it.
Yeah, they have to fix it.
All right, all right, all right, all right.
Woohoo! About to break the world.
All right. Let the fireworks begin when everybody's caps start getting rejected.
Everyone's gonna start coming to our channel and complaining.
That's what we want, though, right?
That is what we
want them to
want.
get rejected.
Yeah, hopefully nothing else landed. This won't need a rebase, but we'll see.
Yeah, not much changes in those. Well, I guess the caps they could change, but yeah, not in the metadata probably.
Can you find caps by milestone using capstl? I can't remember.
I don't know, but that's certainly very easy to add. I don't know that that's.
That would be useful because like we can compare the number with like what is in the spreadsheet then.
Yeah.
So I had a quick question, and this might be a KEP-CTL question. So it's very easy for me to find stuff that's already been committed that's assigned to me for PRR. It's very hard for me to find without somebody explicitly assigning me in GitHub in the PRs, like who's adding me as a new reviewer. Can KEP-CTL do that?
Yes, it will go through all the PRs and it will pull them all out and include those. In fact, I don't give a crap about the things that are already committed most of the time. That's all I care about is the things that are PR, that are in PRs. But a lot of times, it's it's a very clunky, kludgy thing, right? It's gonna like it takes forever because it's pulling all those PRs out, and it's in like some deep in some loop. Like I just kind of shoved the PR stuff in there, like when it's looping through each SIG, so it pulls out all the PRs for every SIG. And it's very kludgy, but it gets you there. And then I have some horrific thing, I run it through to like put it into a little spreadsheet, and then I work the spreadsheet. Right, like I run it once, and I put it in a spreadsheet, and then that way I can keep track of did I look at this one? Did I look at this one? Like keep notes on them, you know, and then I run it again later and see if stuff's been added, and you know, it's kind of a pain in the ass, but we'll refine the process over time.
Great.
So,
And
there we
I
go.
see
We're merged.
Kirsten's joined us, and it merged. So, Kirsten, it's now required. PR's been merged. If everybody hates us, they're welcome to complain in Slack.
Well, it is required though for the actual
Yeah.
for the review.
Yeah.
So like it's not like the automation is adding an extra requirement, because the shadows would just be looking for it anyway. So
Yeah, it actually makes it's
I'm
it's
hoping
better.
it'll
You
make
find out
everyone's
sooner.
life easier, because I don't have to
Yeah.
have the conversation with every single person who submits a thing to please update the metadata. My only concern is if you don't update the metadata at all and it's already in an implementable state, it's really easy for people to miss it.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else, folks, or shall we get ourselves? You can go to bed now, Alana.
I will enjoy the nap.
Yeah.
Soon. Anything from you, Kirsten?
no, I just showed up at the perfect time, I think. Finale.
Oh, I had a question, which is, do you know what's going on with the receipts process? We assume it's not happening. We talked about this
No, it's
before
not.
you
It's
joined.
not happening in 122. I think that, especially given the opt-in process, which kind of changed the game anyway, like the receipts process kind of has to be, I think, just reconsidered to see like what problem they're solving. And I know that people are still working on that, but yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I think there'll probably be some conversations later and some feedback and stuff, but we're also trying to make sure that whatever people do come up with like is tested before it's rolled out to everybody, because that would potentially be bad if it was untested. So nothing for 122.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you, everybody. We'll see you later.
Okay,
Thanks all.
bye.
Bye.